So your 30 plus days of no contact are finished and you're about to text your ex for the first time since your breakup. Your heart's probably racing. I mean, what do you say? Should you call instead? What if they deleted your number and don't know it's you? There's probably a million questions racing through your mind. You finally decide on the perfect message to send. It's simple, it's pleasant, and in no way does it mention your relationship. And as you hit that send button, a smile that you haven't felt in what seems like decades pinches your lips, and suddenly the butterflies are back. But just as quickly as you felt high, you're crushed. Your ex didn't answer. You wait and wait and wait and wait some more. Hours pass, days, weeks. Over this time, maybe you send at least a dozen more messages, each one getting longer and more emotional as time passes and frustration grows. Still, no reply. But why? I'll get to that in a second, but first let me introduce myself. I'm Brad Browning, and in this video I am going to talk exactly about why your ex won't respond to your calls or texts. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been a breakup coach and relationship expert for the past decade or so. Maybe you've heard about my best-selling program, The X Factor Guide, which teaches readers how to get back together with their ex. All right, now that you know a bit about me, let's jump right into it. There could be a lot of reasons why your ex won't answer your calls or texts, and the most likely of them, to be honest, is that the messages you're sending simply don't work in the first place. And before I explain what I mean by that, and talk a little bit more about what some of the types of messages that you should be sending, let's get one thing out of the way right now. And that is that you should not freak out if you don't get a response to your first message. Sometimes your ex won't text back because they're actually busy. So if they don't message you back the same day, then it doesn't mean they won't ever. And the key thing to remember here is also that if your ex doesn't respond to you right away, do not continue messaging them. It's very easy for this to get out of control. One text message leads to another text message, which may lead to you leaving a voicemail on their phone and so on. If your ex doesn't reply to one of your messages, do not freak out and simply stop communicating for at least another week. Okay, now let's talk about some different types of texts, which ones to send and which ones to avoid. It's equally as important to use the proper type of communication. If your ex is a phone person, call them, but if you communicated mostly through text, then go that route instead. You don't want to make your ex feel uncomfortable because then they'll avoid communicating with you altogether. So one of the biggest reasons your ex may not be responding to you, as I mentioned, is because you may be sending them the wrong type of message in the first place. And usually the worst type of message is what I call the pointless text. Pointless texts are one-worders like hi or what's up. Do not send these types of messages if you want to get a response. Texts like hey, how you doing, or hello, what's up, they can be just as bad. And aside from being short and pointless, these kind of messages, they just don't rile up any emotion. If anything, they'll make you appear boring, desperate, and frankly, just not a happy person. Sending these types of texts gives your ex zero reason to respond. So instead of sending something like the pointless text, try instead to use one of the sample texts that I talk about in my X Factor Guide program. One of my favorites, I call the good reminder text. And unlike the pointless text, this is one of the first types of text you should send to your ex. The good reminder text will give your ex the impression that you're totally over them, but still thinking about them from time to time. It's designed to make you look thoughtful, happy, and as though there is a reason for you to message them in the first place. A good example of the good reminder text might be something like, hey, Neil Young is playing in Vancouver in October. Thought you'd like to know because I remember how much you love his music. That sounds innocent, right? And the nice thing about this is there's no pressure for your ex to respond. You're simply letting them know that you're thinking of them and you're not seeming needy, but you're also doing them a favor by reminding them of something that they might simply be interested in. So there's a good reason for you to send the message, and it's likely to be interesting to them. If you want to increase the chances of getting a reply, then be sure to throw a few exclamation marks in there as well. A recent survey found that the use of exclamation marks increased the likelihood of receiving text messages responses by 20%. So if you've been messaging your ex and not getting a response, then it's time to try out one of these good reminder texts and throw in some exclamation marks. If your ex does respond but with a really boring or bland message, then don't hassle them. Instead, keep using the same happy tone that you've been using and be sure that you're the one to end the conversation. This will start to get your ex wanting to start to chase after you and become more interested in actually seeing what you're up to and talking to you. And if you'd like to learn about some of the other types of text messages that are guaranteed to stir up some emotion and generate a response, head over to my website, breakupbrad.com, and watch the full-length video presentation I've got up there. And as part of my X Factor Guide, I've also included a number of powerful text message templates that you can send to your ex, ones that are guaranteed to remind them of what they're missing since you've been gone. And again, the URL for that to learn more is breakupbrad.com. Okay, now let's talk briefly about phoning your ex and what types of things you should say on the phone that will spark your ex's interest and get them to pick up the phone or call you back. To begin with, if you are going to go this route and you're going to phone your ex, then it's ideal if you can call at a time when your ex isn't going to be able to pick up the phone. Now, obviously, you don't want to call at 4 a.m. and wake up your ex, but try to call when you know that your ex is going to be unavailable, like when they're at work or something, so that your call goes to their voicemail. By leaving a voicemail, you can avoid getting caught off guard by your ex's responses and ensure that the call doesn't lead to any awkwardness. And when you do pick up the phone to make that call, be sure that you know what you're going to say and that your message is lighthearted and thoughtful. Be sure that your call has a purpose, but that it also reminds your ex of a time that you spent together. For example, you might leave a voicemail saying something like, hey, thought I'd give you a quick call to let you know that the season premiere of Suits is starting on Sunday. I figured you'd want to watch it since the last episode we watched was so good. Anyway, I hope all's well. And that's it. That's all you need to say. Now, in the event that your ex does pick up the phone, then just stick to the same plan. Simply mention what you were going to say in the voicemail and carry onwards. Make sure that you don't try and force a conversation too much. You don't want to arouse suspicion that you're trying to get back together with your ex, obviously. So just keep the phone call lighthearted, fun, and most importantly, brief. And make sure that you're the one to end the phone call. Now, the tone of your voice is just as important as what you say when you talk to your ex. Don't speak too quickly or it'll sound premeditated. You just want to make sure that you sound like you just heard the news, so be calm, relaxed, and cheerful all at the same time. Now, if you've done this properly and your call went well, then your ex will begin to think about you and wonder how you're doing. They're going to enjoy the fact that you are being thoughtful, and because you don't ask a question or beg for a reply, it's going to make you seem that much more desirable in their eyes. If your ex phones you back, then let it go to a voicemail. And if a response is warranted or necessary, then wait at least 24 hours before you call back. And when you do call back, sound upbeat and confident. Don't bring up problems from your old relationship or anything negative. Instead, just tell them about some of the things you've been up to and make him or her laugh and make sure that they enjoy the conversation. Now, if your ex doesn't reply, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and their lack of response could be for a number of reasons. Maybe they're working or driving. Maybe they're with a friend or they're with somebody who they don't want to overhear the conversation. Then again, maybe your ex won't respond because they're still angry with you. Maybe their friends are telling them to move on without you, or they've set a personal boundary that they're not ready to talk yet. Whatever the reason, don't get upset, don't get angry. If you do freak out and you start texting and calling incessantly, you're just going to look crazy, and that's a major attraction killer. Remember that you're trying to project that you're a new and improved person, full of confidence and happiness. And also, remember what I said at the beginning of this video. If you've already been trying to reach out to your ex and you haven't been getting a response, even if you were using some of the proven techniques that I've just been talking about, don't try again right away. Wait at least a week, sometimes even longer, before you make another attempt. Don't make yourself look desperate or needy by constantly calling and texting. You're just going to be pestering your ex, and it's not going to work in your favor. All right, that's it for now, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you'd like to show your support by liking it or subscribing to my channel here on YouTube, it'd be much appreciated. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for more texting advice or ideas on how to reach out to your ex, check out the free video presentation on my website, breakupbrad.com. All right, that's it for now. So good luck, and we'll see you next time.